From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, January 9th, 2023, the first of the year. I was wrong. I lied to you guys here before the holidays. I told you we'd be back January 2nd. Forgot that was a holiday for Nutrien here. So here we are a week later, first of the year. It's a rather uneventful forecast. Again, much of the jet stream going to continue to focus its energy across the western U.S., and then perhaps up toward British Columbia here as we get deeper into days 5 to 10. But temperatures right now, generally not bad for this time of year. A lot of the colder air well off to the north, well off to the east here. That's going to continue to be the theme as we go through the next 5 to 10 days. Not a lot in the way of big cold air, not a lot in the way of precipitation for the next 5 to 7 days. Some light precipitation showing up around Edmonton here, moving out of the Calgary area, maybe in the Red Deer area later this morning. That'll continue to be the case here over the next couple of days. Maybe some very light flurries making their way in. We'll look at the satellite picture here, infrared. Again, much of the energy being focused right here on the western United States. We just get kind of, some of the little disorganized upper level support is able to make its way over the Rockies here and spill into the Prairie. Same thing down here across the U.S. At times we're seeing these disorganized systems make their way through. We had flurries down here in central Illinois yesterday, but generally inconsequential precipitation. Take a look at that here with the NAM model. Again, maybe some very light snow tracking across portions of the Prairie provinces on Tuesday and Wednesday, but total amounts, we're talking about very little. A couple of inches, maybe a couple areas here getting into the 2 to 3 inch threshold, kind of along Highway 16, something like that, but really not very impactful here. Not coming with real high winds and not coming with bitterly cold temperatures either. So that was the NBM, the National Blended Model I just showed you. On the left now, you've got the NAM, and on the right, the European model. So the NAM, that one says, maybe a couple areas here, picking up a pocket of 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches of snow. The European model, a little bit less here, talking about flurries, maybe a light coating. So a coating to a couple inches of snow, that's what we're talking about over the course of the next week or so. So take it out through January 16th, very similar. Much of the Prairie here, we're talking about light, inconsequential snow, possibly getting some, 2 to 6 inch totals well off to the north here, north of the Prairie. But look at all this going on to our southwest. This is good news for folks across the western U.S., across British Columbia, across the Rockies here, getting that snowpack. We're well ahead of schedule across a lot of these areas, and that's just good news. They've been left out over the last couple of winters. And, if we can get a head start on mitigating another year of drought across the region there, that is going to be great news. And it looks like we'll continue to do that. As we look at the height pattern here across North America, again, a lot of the jet stream support over the next week and potentially longer, even as we get to the end of this loop. I'll show you here. We'll go ahead and pause it. We'll start off here as we get started this week. Again, big trough, very strong jet stream, bringing a lot of Pacific moisture to this area right here. We'll kind of pause it as we get toward the middle and late part of the week. See right here, we get into Thursday and Friday. Not so much as a pause as maybe a brief retraction of that jet. We allow a little bit of ridging here. That would certainly allow us to warm up a little bit more, even across the Prairie. But then as we head into the weekend, early next week, we'll bring another trough in here. And that just reignites things across this region. A lot of moisture, and it keeps us on the mild side across the Prairie, and it also keeps us with rather disorganized inconsequential precipitation. So as we look even deeper, I'm talking toward the last week of January, it does look like maybe on the backside of that second push of jet stream, support across the western U.S., maybe we get into a pattern here where we develop a trough, an area of low pressure across the eastern U.S. This could maybe set up a cooler pattern across the Prairie into the central U.S., but the problem is, without much in the way of blocking, we really don't have much in the way of a reservoir of bitterly cold air. So as I show you a sliding 5-day window of temperatures across North America, again, there's no real reservoir, of bitterly cold air here, so that if we went into a pattern, something like this, we'd be dragging that in across the Prairie. Instead, it's pretty mild across all of North America, and the temperatures across the Canadian Prairie likely to lean a few degrees warmer than average, even into the last week of January. That's where we get a little bit of uncertainty there, but man, it does look mild as we head through the rest of January. And as we look at the precipitation pattern, again, a lot of the support funneled right in here from the western U.S. and then at times running in through the central United States across the Prairie. We're talking about inconsequential chances for very light snow as we head through the next week. The furnace just kicked on behind me, so if you're hearing a little hum behind me, that is all that is. Again, the active storm track over the next 5 to 10 days really favors this corridor right here. We just kind of get what's able to ride up over the Rockies and bring us a little light snow over the next 7 days. Your temperatures, again, there's shots of cooler air, but -3 for a high being the coldest day over the next 10 days, not bad in Calgary. Here you go, Edmonton, Regina, Saskatoon, and Winnipeg. Hope you have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you again on the 16th of January.